What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, but I just got home off of an early morning flight, right? First thing through the door, I want to see my family. I love my family. You know, I'm a family man. I'm an advocate for families, right? Second thing, I got to get that hot shower because I got to throw the threads on. The threads make me feel like $1,000,000, but the third thing through my mind and all throughout the trip is that I gotta have that Tiege pack. Tiege makes my life uncomplicated. It's uncomplicated skincare for men. The first way that I started specifically was their level 1 system. It's a daily face wash to get rid of the dirt and grime on your skin. 2 times per week exfoliating scrub to get rid of the dead skin cells. An AM moisturizer with SPF 20 because you should always be protecting your skin from the sun. And a PM moisturizer to help your skin stay hydrated and healthy throughout the night. Here's the thing. My favorite part about Tiege Hanley is that every box comes with an instruction card that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. They really making the process of achieving and maintaining amazing skin for men uncomplicated. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tiege Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, the ability to customize your box, exclusive monthly deals, you can pause and cancel at any time, and you get free shipping. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers an amazing deal, right? Just click the first link in the description and you get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. It's an amazing deal. You got to get started today. You're not out here trying to look like a Dusty. And if you travel as much as I do, which I'm sure most people don't, but you know me, I'm pushing my bag chasers in order to be in the top 5%, top 10%, top 1%. We got to make our lives uncomplicated, and Tiege Hanley is no better product. You got to look good. You got to smell good. And you can't be looking like a Dusty. Make sure you get started today. Click the link in the description. Get that Tiege pack. Feel the Tiege, my friends. What's going on is Anton from AntonDaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me. Thank you for tuning into the Millionaire Morning Show. You know how we do it. Let's hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications. I am back home. Literally just caught a flight this morning. I was up at 3 a.m. last night, or this morning. I woke up at 3 a.m. I got back to my Airbnb down in Dallas at like 1 o'clock, 1:15. So I wound up getting into the bed at like 1:45 because I don't believe in getting into bed without getting in the shower first. I'm just not that type of dude. And then took a quick nap, an hour and a half nap. Was back up at 3 o'clock. I had to take care of some business or prepare some things because I knew I had to catch a flight early this morning. Headed over to the airport. We'll get into that. In a minute. Shout out to everybody that's in the chat. Let me give an early salute to my first super chat for the day. Brandon Oliphant says, "Good morning, famo. Had to send this early as I am at work. Just want to say thank you for all that you provide, from the financial insight to the personal. I'm gleaning a ton. Looking forward to the coaching session in the future." Shout out to Brandon Oliphant in the building. I see you on the profile picture with you and the little one, enjoying life. Man, I feel that. Thank you for the early 20 ball. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate you. Let me tap into everybody. United is in the building. Melvin Johnson, Big Suggs, Copel Parts, Spaces, Kojak, Batman 4000 plus 11. I see you, big dog. Brock says, hit a like for the YouTube algorithm. Lauren Love, I appreciate you. Jarrell Davis. Let me see who else I got in the building. The Alexander, my homegirl, she's so lucky, is up here. Happy to have haters. Heck of a name. I don't even want no more haters no more. What up to my dog, Julian Rooks? I did say Brock already, but Alvin S. Everybody, listen, let me tell y'all, everybody is in the building. I can't tap into everybody. I see Sabrina, DJ Bobby J, Minding Q, T Business 2.0, interesting name, Christopher Thomas. Everybody, thank y'all, thank y'all. Let me get another super chat up in here really quickly. I gotta say what up to Dick Maximus. Good afternoon. How far out should I plan for a coaching call? I have several rental properties, but the money is taking a while to accumulate. It is ironic that you tell me that today. It is ironic that you asked that question, and thank you for $5 super chat. Let's see. Hold on. Let me call Rita and see what she got on the calendar, because Rita largely is the one that oversees what my calendar is looking like. So let me call her and see what the word is.
Hello?
Yo, what up? I'm live. You busy?
Just driving.
Just driving?
Yeah.
So I just got a super chat. I'm gonna let you answer it from Mr. Maximus, Dick Maximus specifically. Says, "Good afternoon." Oh, you seen it?
Yes.
It says, "Good after." Why are you laughing?
Because we just talked about this, but go ahead.
When should they contact for a coaching call? That's the question.
So, guys, hi. As of right now, we are currently scheduling for June. There is not 1 minute available in April or May. I have squoze as many people as I could in. We are on to June, and actually, we are almost to the second week of June already.
Thank you. I'm gonna let you give them the bad news. I'm not gonna sit here giving the bad news, so you can give the bad news. Bye. This is one of the benefits of being a face, but not necessarily having to deal with the business side of it all the time. Because, all right, so let me give y'all some insight. First of all, I see somebody in the chat, and they asked me a specific question, and I seen somebody type this on one of my comments before. He says, "Did you report my YouTube short because I clipped one of your videos?" No. I don't know what video you clipped. I don't report anything. I have a team that kind of oversees the editing and the uploading of different videos and everything like that. So I really only plan the shows and do whatever the clips. But I have not reported anything. I guess the question is, did you steal some content? That's what we should be asking ourselves. Like, what did you steal? What video, specifically Vontae Sr., did you steal in order to even be able to question me in the first place of whether or not I reported your short? No, I didn't report your short. If you did clip up any one of the interviews, it is a strong possibility that you did get asked to take it down. But as of recently, my team has not been dedicating any of their time to reporting or copywriting anybody or asking anybody to take anything down. Over the last month or so, they've been spending all of their time dedicated towards building up the channel and doing a lot of other things. So no, Anton has not reported any shorts. But the question that I then have for you again is, what short did you steal, sir? So I'm a look for you to reply back into the chat to tell me what short you. Hey, how a nigga gonna come up on your channel and check you about what video of yours they took in order to use for a short? Yo, this is some nigga shit right here. This is some nigga shit. Yo, who comes on another dude? And then I gotta explain myself to y'all on why I didn't report your short of my content that you took and you used. That don't even make sense. That's some wild shit. This is 2023. We are living in some weird times, ladies and gentlemen. And whenever I gotta come on my live stream in order to address a nigga that asked me, and he was in a comment in another video, and somebody showed it to me. I said, "Yeah, y'all go ahead and reply to it." how you gonna ask me if I reported you on a video that you took of mine and used as a short in order to get your numbers up? What kind of shit is that? The answer is no. I have not reported to you, but I'm gonna need y'all niggas to be able to get your own content and put up your own shit and do awesome things. Now, listen, I love it when y'all react to my shit, like react all day long, negative, positive, whatever. But do whatever you gonna do on that type of shit. But y'all not just gonna be stealing my shit and then be gonna coming up on my panel and then asking me whether or not I reported some shit that you stole from me. That's wild, fam. And then that's the look. Let me tell you how niggas is. Niggas don't even say good morning. They don't even be like, what up, though? Good morning. How's it going? Salute. Niggas be like, hey, you reported that video I took of yours, little homie? Like, nigga, who is you, Debo? Is that what we doing? That's why I'm starting to adjust. That's why I'm not going to be on no panels no more. That's why I'm moving a little bit differently. We going to move a little differently in 2023, March 16th going forward. All right, so let me get into a couple more super chats. Actually, you know what? Let's get into the show. And then I'm going to read some super chats out after I give y'all my experience. So I did come back from Dallas today. So I caught an early morning flight. Again, I was up at 3 a.m., caught a 5-something a.m. flight, flew back to Detroit. I landed at, and that was Dallas time. So you know that's Central. And then when you got to move up an hour in order to go to Eastern. So, you know, by the time I landed, it was 9 o'clock Detroit time, Eastern Standard Time. Went straight to my car, caught it, went to the mailbox, went to the car wash, went to my P.O. box and all of that other type of stuff in order to get this dope ass hoodie. You know what I'm saying? For those of y'all that can't read it the other way, this is an actual, it looked like Legos. It's real Legos. And it's the Nirvana, the Nevermind album, one of the greatest albums of all time. Shout out to Kurt Cobain, he killed himself. And this is the baby on the Nirvana album, and it say Paper Chasing at the top. And then it got all of the drip, and this is actual real paint that's on this hoodie. I got some real dope hoodies, dope merch that's going to be coming on the Anton Daniels channel. Shout out to y'all for rocking out with me. So it's an absolute dope thing. But you know I got to keep my drip up, right? And so I went and picked this hoodie up from the P.O. box, came back to the crib, got some stuff taken care of, took a meeting, called my general manager that's managing my very first home that I'm building. Usually I just go and I do it from scratch. But I did the very first home that I'm building, so I got to drop off a deposit to him. I just bought a new home also on top of that. So I got to go and meet with my lawyer tomorrow. So I had to confirm that meeting and everything like that. But here's the thing. I have not slept. Real talk. I have not slept. I've slept on average probably the last 4 days, maybe 3 hours a day total. And that's including a half-hour nap in there. 3 hours. And this is the life of a person that's actually hired a bunch of people to take over a lot of different things that's going on in my life. I pulled back from doing other things on the internet and YouTube. I got editors. I got channel managers now. I got an additional assistant in addition to Rita and all of that. But I find myself at a crossroads because it's like I'm driving really, really hard because I got this window that I've created for myself long term for me to be able to kind of step away from everything, right? Even the Millionaire Morning Show, I'll let y'all in on a secret. Even the Millionaire Morning Show is going to evolve, right? In the next few years, obviously no time soon. So I'm going to be cooking up for at least the next few years. But in the next few years, eventually I want to groom somebody that's a bag chaser to be able to take over what it is that's going on here on the show to be able to add value. I want to be able to transition in the same way that Jay Leno and Billy Carson and all of those type of guys transition over from the late night show. And I want to build this thing up in order to put other people on. From a business perspective, the lesson that I'm trying to teach you guys is that If you are as good as you say you are, and I'm not talking about the people that's just getting started. I'm not talking about the people that just started their business and they trying to have passive income and all of that other type of stuff. I'm not talking about y'all that's just getting rocking. Listen, pay your dues, put your time in. But I came to the conclusion, and I got a birthday coming up in April. I'm gonna be 41 years old. When we was walking through the airport and I was going over to the baggage claim, I told Rita, I said, hey, let me go and call and see how old you got to be to get AARP. I'm technically an OG. I'm AWACS from Menace to Society. I'm an OG now. I'm not trying to be in the same lane as everybody else. And so while everybody else is still doing the same thing, the one thing that you can't say about my YouTube channels, my content and everything like that, and I'm about to get into the show, the one thing that you can't say about me is that I have not continued to evolve over the years from the time that I started my channel all the way up until you guys rocking with me now. I am a constant evolution. I am constant change. I am a constant pushing forward of being, the ups and the downs and the issues and the problems. And then ultimately, hopefully you see it like this and it's growing and it's going up like that. You know what I'm saying? And so if you are as good as you say you are, once you become an OG, once you become, the dude that put in your 10,000 hours and you've mastered your craft and your ability to communicate or whatever it is that you do, whether it's consecration, whatever, you should be able to replace yourself. You should always be, if the people up under you, first of all, if you ain't got no people if you are OG and you ain't got nobody that you actually helping and mentoring because you haven't actually did the work, let's start there. Let's start there before we get into the show. Some of y'all never actually put in your 10,000 hours, and you think that just because you old, somebody is supposed to listen to you. And that's not the case. Let's start there. Just because you old don't mean you got it. You are old fool. You are old fool, not a whole fool, a old fool. Some of y'all that call yourself OGs just because you old and we can't necessarily track your past because the internet wasn't around when you was born. Y'all don't need no microphone. Sit your punk ass down. We don't want to hear nothing that you're talking about. Stop it. You giving bad advice. You was one of the reasons why we find ourselves in this situation in the first place. You need to just go ahead and die off. I said it. I said it. Nobody needs to take your advice. Nobody needs to be sitting under you. All of that. Just because you old, don't mean you got knowledge, wisdom, understanding, and all of that. I can't stand when these people age to a certain space and ain't never did shit, ain't never built shit, ain't never did nothing, ain't never leveled up in their life, ain't never made more than $5,000 in a year without being on government assistance. And they think that just because they sitting in the barbershop all day sweeping up the hair, that you supposed to sit down and take out your time and listen to them. No, young people, you are doing the right thing and being able to use your wisdom, your God-given insight to be able to figure out who you should and who you shouldn't listen to. You will know them by the fruits. You will know them by the fruit that they bear. If they have nothing to contribute and they've never done nothing except be a piece of shit on the face of this earth, do not listen to them. It's nothing for them to contribute into the conversation. Now that we got that out the way, you got to put your 10,000 hours in. You need to master your craft. You need to become great at what it is that you do all throughout your life and then show the progress. So if you overlooking your life and every year you the same or you worse or you just slightly better than you were the year before, go ahead and remove yourself out of the conversation. There's nothing else for us to talk about. Nobody should be taking advice from you, especially when it comes to finances and money. Now, when you get to a space to where you've actually mastered your craft and you continue to evolve and grow, when you get people up under you, and it don't matter how little the position is and things like that. Give me a second. When you get people up under you, and whether you're mentoring people, whether you're helping people, once you've become rich, and rich not just talking about financially, rich in spirit, rich in wisdom, rich in knowledge of whatever your profession is or whatever you're doing. Once you become rich, because that means that you were selfish long enough to actually be selfless. That means that your cup is running over. And now you don't want to die with the knowledge within you. And so you start to look for an opportunity to be able to pour into other people. Once you become rich, then you need to master the ability to be able to groom other people and learn to give them everything that you have, because we're not trying to die with the knowledge. We're trying to pass it on to the rest of y'all and to the next generation. More importantly, to the people that actually want to do the work. Don't cast your pearls to swine. Don't spend your time beating people over the head trying to get them to do something that's in their best interest, and they're not interested in doing that. You're going to have to spend your time very carefully with the people that you know want the knowledge, information, and the insight, and then pour everything into them, learn to replace yourself. And it don't mean you not going nowhere. It don't mean we ain't gonna still drop albums, do content, or whatever, so on and so forth. But we need to be building up other people. And if we just did it in order to get all of it for ourselves and just die with it and it don't mean nothing, then what was the point of doing it in the first place? We want to leave this earth in a better space had we not been here. That's the goal. To be a blessing on this earth, not a cancer. All right? And so I forgive people, I rock with people, I roll with people, I add value into their life, and hopefully you see the growth and the trajectory of me over the years of what me being on YouTube and visible and documenting my life and the ups and the downs and the mistakes and the growth. And hopefully you're a part of the Bag Chasers. Shout out to my people that's in the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. For those of y'all that's looking to get coaching calls, you can reach out. And if you are looking to get a coaching call, I suggest you, gosh, I don't even want to say this. You have to send an email. Some of y'all procrastinated, and now y'all want me to adjust my schedule tomorrow when motherfuckers has been waiting for me to be kicking it with them, over the last 2 months. I can't make a special exception just for you. I have corporate clients. I have people that have reoccurring calls, and I'm going to prioritize them. So you need to reach out to me and get in where you fit in. And if you are a bag chaser, I'm definitely going to give you priority. I'm always going to prioritize the people that are already seeing doing the work. So if you're a part of the Patreon, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Let's get it. If you have any other business inquiries, sponsorships, or anything you want me to consider, email me at antondaniels413@gmail.com and I'm going to get it popping. If y'all see any fake Instagram accounts, any fake TikTok accounts, that's not me, that's sending y'all DMs and shit like that, screenshot it, send it to me. My team is going to get them up out of here as soon as possible, all right? So let's continue into the show. I'm going to read these super chats and we're going to get it rocking. Chef Cartez Jones says, glad to attend the AD daily class session. We're going to be cooking as usual. Shout out to you. I appreciate you for the 5-ball. Michael Jones, my dog, with the 20-ball. Thank you, my friend. I know you always support the platform, and I really do appreciate you. Says, good morning, Thanos. Filling that hoodie. One question. Does it come in a 6X? A 6X? Not a 6X. Listen, we're going to have to do the work. I'm not even going to have no 6Xs. All right, we're going to have to do the work, and we're going to have to get that down. Ray Sean says, good morning, everyone. Bag chasers, been bag chasing. Shout out to Ray Sean. I appreciate you, big dog. Double R. R Quake says, just sent the 5-ball just because. Vontae Sr. Vontae, that be stealing. Nah, I'm just playing with you, fam. Listen, original content is always going to be key for you to be able to have the most growth. All right, original content. Blaze, my dog, says, that's like asking, did you tell your wife I owe you money? You know what I'm saying? Up here checking my pockets to see if I don't know what the hell is going on. Twisted Pup TV says, Famo, I was going to review the clip with Real Estate Trapper on my real estate show because I love how you mediated and conflicted, if that's cool. Y'all can review any video that I have. I will never send a stop or a copyright strike or anything like that to anybody that is within good, you know what I'm saying? Like you actually genuinely are reviewing the content. I'm never going to hit nobody up for reviewing my content. Y'all can review all day long. You don't even have to ask me. Have fun, review the content, enjoy it. Just try to, and also try to tag me in it or give a look, yo, this is Anton, send a link back. That'd be cool. I appreciate it. But if you don't, do what you do. Alvin S says, AD, you preaching real good. I just speak from my heart. I genuinely speak from my heart when I'm kicking with y'all on a daily basis. I just love y'all. I genuinely love y'all. So let's get into the show. All right. First thing that I want to address is I just want to throw Rita under the bus real quick. What's up with these women that don't do what you ask them to do? I told Rita this morning, and this is us on the way back from the airport. So this is her faking sleep because she knew I brought the camera out. I said, all right, I'm going to take a picture, and then she going to go, I'm going to take a picture of you. That's why I got my face turned up because I told her we got in the car. And she up there sleepy like a little baby. I said, hey, put your seat back and get some rest. I'm okay. I said, listen, honey. Now listen, this is the protocol. I said, listen, honey. Put your seat back, get some rest, because you've had a long trip. You just got off your flight. I don't want, you know what I'm saying? I want you to feel good when you wake up or whatever. It's no point in you being up. I got a 40-minute ride from the airport over into the crib. Then she gonna say this. Oh, I said, get your black ass out the car and get in the back now. With the seats reclining where you got the pillows in the back. That's why I put her in the back. I said, get your black ass out the car and get in the back now, where you can get some rest, where the seats kick up, and you can move the seat up from the front, and you can actually have a little bit more. Then I had to put it. And then, why do women? This is my question. Why do women? And I'm gonna read the super chat. Thank you, Persevere Data TV. Why you got to deal with women a certain type of way in order for them to actually feel like you love them? Why we got to deal with y'all that way? Shout out to Billanico. Billanico sent me some merch. I've been rocking the Billanico merch until I get my merch fully secured. So y'all can go and check out Billanico with some dope merch. Why I got to deal with you a certain type of way? And I tell her all the time. I said, listen, the first 2 times I'm gonna be nice. The third time, don't make me say it 3 times. So then she gonna get in the back, and then I see her peeking up a little bit to see if I'm looking at her. I said, I'm gonna get my phone out and tell on your ass. And then she gonna start laughing and pretend like she's going to sleep. So just a little bit of fun. Just a little bit of fun for the people, just to let y'all know what our life is like. I'm gonna continue to bring y'all into my life minimally, but I'm gonna continue to bring y'all into my life in order to be able to have these conversations. Y'all love it when we grab y'all up and have to deal with y'all a certain type of way. Persevere Data TV says, had to learn to book those reoccurring calls, but it's definitely worth it. It's funny because Persevere Data TV, when we had our first call, I said, yeah, all right, so if you need to get back in touch with me on a reoccurring call or whatever like that, email me. Persevere Data TV gonna wait. Then he had to wait his ass a few months in order to be able to kick it again, and then we had to get to that money. Slowing the money up. Shout out to the 50 ball for the Persevere Data TV. Y'all know how to get in touch with me. Let's deep dive into the show. I want it to be a fun show. And I didn't forget about the news people. I had to wait till I got settled here in Detroit because I got to do my research. I want to find out who these people are. From yesterday's show when they tried to kill my dog Carlton's name and then pit Trap and Carlton against each other. And then we had to uncover it so I can tell them, hey, listen, Carlton ain't your enemy. Trap ain't your enemy. Y'all both do good business. Don't let these people on the other side that's using y'all for clicks and views finesse y'all and get y'all to pit each other against each other. We not doing that no more. We not doing that. We only gonna hold accountable the people that need to be held accountable. We not gonna have no more misunderstandings at the behalf of somebody else. All right. So I'm dealing with y'all. That's coming. I'm gonna deal with y'all accordingly. But I want to. One of my favorite people to listen to and react to, just because I find him to be incredibly entertaining, is Dame Dash, right? Dame Dash has very opinionated thoughts on a lot of things with regard to business, money. He talks about Jay-Z a lot, and then he gets irritated at other people talking about Jay-Z or asking him about Jay-Z. Well, the most important thing that's ever happened from our perspective and what it is that we see Dame for is Jay-Z, right? But Dame recently had a video on the channel that he used to drop on a regular basis. And on the video, it was titled something like rich people try to act poor and poor people try to act rich. And so I actually watched a lot of the video because, I'm going to tell y'all specifically when I watched and when I didn't watch. I watched a lot of the video, and I agreed with him to an extent, but I think there's context that needs to be added into it. So I wouldn't usually react to a lot of these type of videos on a Millionaire Morning Show, but we got to take it back to the money, and I think it's important to add context, because one of the things that I see people say all the time, especially when they having conversations or they say, Anton, you shouldn't stunt, or Anton, you shouldn't show all your cars, or Anton, it don't matter if you paid a bunch of money for a watch and all of this other type of stuff. I feel like you're trying to minimize what it is that I do, or just because I got a blue collar and all of this. I worked at blue collar jobs too. I hustled too. I went broke in 2008 too. Man, nobody trying to stunt on you. We trying to inspire you, motivate you, and then give you the game of how it is that I was able to leverage those blue collar opportunities to then get into the spaces that I'm in now. But some people you can't save. And then they type dumb stuff in the comments and they say, yeah, because if Coach is good enough for Warren Buffett, then it's good enough for me. Right on a video where I say I'm never flying Coach again because I can afford to fly first class for the rest of my life and not have to worry about it, right? But the context is this: first of all, Warren Buffett doesn't fly Coach. Warren Buffett lives in a $750,000 house because he lives on his private plane. Private plane. Additional context: there's different types of rich people. And I try to break this down all the time, but this is a good example, I think, to add some additional context. Sorry, I got another laptop up here. To add some additional context as to why some people pretend to be poor that are actually rich, and why some people that are, some people that are rich are pretending to be poor, and some people that are technically poor or middle class projects themselves to be rich, and how you can tell the difference between the two, and then also show you the difference between different type of rich people. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the video, and then we're gonna go ahead and rock out.
I went and looked for press. So before I was manipulating press. I was paying money to be in the newspaper, which is what everyone else does. And then when I got tired of it, it was like, yo, this is bullshit. Being fake and phony and perceptions and false announcements, fuck all that. I'm not paying a publicist $10,000 a month. I'm gonna just do what I gotta do. My work is good, they're gonna look for me anyway. And I couldn't turn off the press. They were like, nah, you ain't going nowhere. You paid to be here, you wanted to be in the cameras, so you gotta take the good with the bad, period. And there's damage control, but I just didn't care, and I still don't. I don't pay for damage control. I don't have no explanations for somebody when they say something bad about me, because I don't care. Control. Think what you want. It doesn't affect me.
You never pay for that with any of your artists?
Yeah. All day. That's what I'm saying. That's why I know. Press can be bought. Press can be manipulated. Every time I hear a company got sold, I know it's because they're in distress.
So let me break down what he's saying, because this is a preface to what he's going to say later. He said, yo, I used to buy press. So he used to buy visibility into whatever it was that he was doing, similar to the same way that they used to do what they call payola, right? So within the music industry, they would pay certain DJs to play their stuff. So it had nothing to do with whether or not you was the best at what you do. It had everything to do with whether or not you greased the right palms or you created the best marketing plan in order to ensure that your product got off the shelf. Now, I have no problem with this, right? I have no problem with people paying for visibility and press, because even when I develop an application for a client or something like that, or we put together a marketing thing, we often say at times, listen, you can have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, what's the point of putting together this whole thing? If you don't have the marketing aspect behind what it is that we putting together, regardless of how good it is, and thank y'all for the super chats, I'm gonna be reading them shortly. If y'all don't have the marketing or the muscle behind it, then what good is it to have the best product? You to be the greatest rapper in the world and spitting 16s and I'm spitting meta fives to kill your metaphors and all of this other type of shit, soliloquies, and and then don't nobody care about your stuff, and then you see a dude that come through and he just be singing, and then they junk pop off, and that's then you got a Post Malone on your hands, right? And it's because you don't know how to put people in a position to where those that see him will determine whether or not they want to rock with him long term, but that visibility comes along with it. But what Dame is saying is, listen, I got to a point where I said, forget all of that. I'm not paying for no press no more. The work is going to speak for itself. But the context that he's not adding is that he already had the wave that then substantiated that he didn't have to buy press anymore because he had a team that was rocking, largely based off of what Jay-Z was doing. And that's why when Jay-Z is no longer available, you see no more Dame, you see no more Beanie Siegel, you see no more Freeway, you see no more PD Crack, you see no more all of them other type of dudes, because the Ye's and the Jay-Z's was carrying the visibility, and then it stretched into everything else. It's almost like 50 Cent and G-Unit. Nobody is checking for fucking G-Unit. Nobody is really checking for Yayo, Banks, and Buck without the 50. But the 50 was the wave that then created the Yayo, Banks, and Buck. And so they didn't have to do the marketing because just mentioning 50 alone was the thing that got them popping. The question then became, was they popping enough, or did they produce the best product to where it then continued to resonate with consumers when 50 was no longer pushing them? And so that's the context. And everything that we do, we got to get context, because marketing isn't just throwing a bunch of money behind it. Marketing is having a long-term strategy as to how this thing is going to continue to grow, even when you no longer have that one thing that created the most visibility for it. And marketing can be anything, right? But let's continue.
You know what I'm saying? So they try to flip it and make it look like it's something that's not. It's because you needed your bills paid. That's why you just gave up your company. You don't give up your company for any multiple unless it's a crazy multiple, unless you're in distress. And then you try to flip it, and there's companies like Rockware and places like that that were in distress, but all of a sudden they sold for $400 million.
There are companies that are in distress. There are people that get the most out of their companies, and then they sell them once they see that it's another wave coming. But then there are people, and we actually coach people on this, even within the banking industry, there are people that are building up the company in order to have an exit strategy. For example, there are people that wind up selling apartment buildings, farms, selling the business that they've built up because they've retired, or they want to get into a completely different business, right? We call this the cost-benefit analysis, okay? And in the cost-benefit analysis, they're evaluating their limited amount of time, because think about it. You don't want to own everything. You want to spend the majority of your time doing the thing that means the most to you from a business perspective. So if you have A company, right, and then B company, let's say you started off with A company and then you built B company, and both A company and B company is both profitable. Now, I always advise my people to have an exit strategy. So where do you have to be, and what do you have to hit, or what offer can somebody present to you that would then allow for you to actually get out of that business and say, you know what, that's a big enough number that makes sense. So you got A company, you got B company. You create A company first, B company second. B company because you've utilized strategies that you've learned from A company to grow B company. Now, B company has become significantly more profitable, but A company is taking a lot of your time because it takes a lot more oversight in order for A company to be as profitable as it is, or to even be profitable at all. You get rid of A company to somebody that then wants to be a part of whatever that thing is, right? You get rid of A company because the cost benefit analysis is saying that I need to spend more time growing B company, because that's where I should be spending the majority of my time. It doesn't mean that A company is in distress. It means that the exit strategy is calling for you to spend more time with B company, because you have a limited amount of time as to the amount of things that you can do as far as ownership, management, or resources that you have to dedicate to a specific thing. People do it all the time. People sell their catalogs, not because their catalog is in distress. The exit strategy behind that business is saying that I want the lump sum of money so I can go and do something else that I'm planning for, or I can just go and live my life and just be happy and free. And I want the lump sum instead of taking the amount of money that I'm getting on residuals, because this person has a better plan for the company. Maybe they plan on marketing it differently, and they want to put more of your catalog in movies in order to get the licensing deals and all of this other type of stuff. Disney bought Fox because they wanted to get Avatar and they wanted to get The Simpsons and all that other. The Fox catalog wasn't in distress. It was that Disney wanted to use it in order to beef up their streaming content so that they can better compete with Netflix and Apple Plus. And so when you hear this advice and you hear these people saying these things, they're only talking about it from their limited limited experience, and then we trust him and we believe him. And it's not that he's wrong, but he's using one example. He's saying Rockaware. Okay, I understand that everybody was falling out of love with Rockaware and all of this other type of stuff, and that was one example of a company in distress, and you got rid of that catalog, or your team got rid of that catalog, or Jay-Z got rid of that in order to make a healthy profit for $400 million. But the other side of it is that there's more companies and more context that allows for us to be able to parse through when you're supposed to sell, when you have an exit strategy, and when it makes the most sense for somebody to get rid of a company or get rid of a catalog or get rid of something in their portfolio in order to leverage all of that money to go into something that they seem to be a lot more profitable. So when y'all, again, this is money talk. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. This is different. This ain't no, oh, we just gonna listen to it. Oh, it makes sense. We taking YouTube talking points. This ain't that. This is the Millionaire Morning Show. We break things down to a science based off of our lived experiences, based off of what was communicated to us, so that we then can use the information to make better decisions in our own lives. Let's continue to hear what he has to say.
You know what I'm saying? But they was losing money. And I know that for a fact. You know, and I look at it like, that's hilarious how they twist it. The twist masters be killing me.
Yeah, because I remember when I came to the house and I told you, I was like, yo, they're saying you had like 250 million, and you were laughing at that.
Like, where's 250 million? That's what I'm saying. I've been in Forbes and they said I got 400 million. I'm like, now all you did was get me hot. Now the feds is on me now because I didn't pay taxes on 400 million. That's what happened. I'm like, I don't even understand that.
Now the feds is on me.
Yeah, I started having the tax problems when they started talking about my bread.
Now, this is what he's saying as the precursor to going into the rich people want to be presented as poor and poor people want to be presented as rich argument, right? Now, listen to the context that he's saying. He said, I've been in Forbes. They said I had $250 million. Well, first and foremost, I hate when I see people say that they saying this on their net worth on the internet. The internet don't know. The internet has no clue. And just because it says that your net worth is $250 million does not mean that you have $250 million in cash. That would be the dumbest thing that I've ever seen anybody do in my entire life. And if somebody got $250 million in cash, I would have to question how they were able to even become rich in the first place. Because that's the dumbest thing that you can't save or sell your way to wealth. You can't save your way to wealth, right? But then listen to what he said. He said, when Forbes started putting me in there, that's the thing that jammed me up because that's when I started having tax problems. Listen to what he's saying. When Forbes put me in there, that's the thing that jammed him up because he then started having tax problems. Now, what is that communicating to me, right? A, either his accountant ain't worth shit, or B, let's just call a spade, doing shady business on the side as far as fudging the numbers, because you can't have tax problems if you ain't got tax problems. You can't have tax problems if you don't have, if the numbers make sense and your bookkeeping is tight and you've actually been able to truly justify what's going on inside of your business and you've been paying your taxes and you're on time. And I understand, listen, if you're a year or 2 years behind, that's normal for business people. A lot of dudes do they file what we call a, what is it called? Basically, every year they file to where they don't have to actually do their taxes until like September or something throughout the year. They file an extension. Okay? If you behind or something like that, that's a completely different conversation. But you can't jam me up on something that I'm not having a problem with. You can't jam me up. I'm not, listen, the reason why I feel so confident showing my money and showing my worth is because I've been audited before and I had no problems. Hey, listen, look through the books. This is where I keep all of my documentation. It's in my cloud folder. I'll share it with you guys. Also, this is how I do my bookkeeping. And these are the people that actually justify or go over my bookkeeping to make sure that I got things straight. Listen, any month you need, I'm not worried about it because all of my income is legit. I even show my W-2s inside of the Patreon. Shout out to the bag chasers. I show my bank account because I don't worry about what's coming in and going out because I can actually justify the amount of money that I make. And my taxes is going to be straight because I look at everything from a business perspective. So you can't jam me up on something that I'm not jammable on. You know what I'm saying? So that's the context. He's saying that, yo, a lot of people want to pretend like they ain't got nothing because they don't want nobody looking through their books and trying to figure out where it is that it's at. Listen to what's being communicated.
Because if they talking about your bread on the newspaper and you ain't pay taxes for the bread they sell.
And you are correct, Connie. Even if you file an extension, you still have to make sure all your taxes is paid by April 15th. And it doesn't mean that these guys doesn't have their taxes paid. What it means is they're just trying to make sure that they go over all of the documentation to make sure everything is good. If you don't have your taxes paid by April 15th, then obviously you're going to start getting penalties and all that other type of stuff. Let me preface this live stream by also saying that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not telling you what to do with your money. I'm just parsing through the information based off of how it is that I live my own life. You got to make the decision for yourself. Make sure you tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Reading super chats throughout the show. Let's continue.
Flags to go. How he got 400 million? He ain't paid no taxes.
On that.
Well, it's just let me look under the hood now. It just makes you hot. In the street when you hustle, niggas ain't supposed to say they got bread. They supposed to say I'm fucked up.
Think about it. He's equating this to a street nigga. When you in the streets or whatever, and when you got bread, they try not to make themselves a target. They try not to get audited by the IRS because even if you're doing crime, bet you didn't know that, you still got to pay your taxes on the profits that come along with the money. So even if they can't jam you up on that, they can jam you up from a financial perspective. So that's a way that people do things that's actually not on the up and up. And I can't find myself in that space. I'm not about to be getting caught up with that nonsense. He's using street analogy, and this is one of the things, listen, I get it. He's not wrong at all. He's not wrong. I just think that there needs to be additional context because I want y'all to stop thinking like street niggas and start thinking like people that operate like business people. Stop thinking street and stop equating it from a street dude perspective and start thinking like business people. You don't have to hide when you're not moving scandalous, when you ain't tripping off of nothing. You don't have to hide or you don't have to start pretending when you're not doing nothing that you're not supposed to do. And so when people say, oh, rich people, it depends on the type of rich person you are. If you be Big Meech from BMF, yeah, you probably should not have put the world is yours on a highway sign in Atlanta going into Atlanta in order to advertise what it is that you got going on. If you a legit guy that is committing fraud or Medicare fraud or tax fraud, or you took a PPP loan when you wasn't supposed to take it, yeah, you should probably shut the fuck up. And then there's also rich people that are millionaires that actually don't make a lot of income. They're millionaires on paper, in which they are trying to maintain or substantiate a certain lifestyle that allows for them to live for the rest of their life. They may have a house that they have, or a couple different houses that they have. They got one that they live in that they own, and one is an income property in which they probably make a couple extra $1,000 a month off of that may be paid off or may not be paid off. And so their net worth may be $1.5 or $2 million when you include their 401k and whatever it is that they got going on in savings. They can't go out there and buy no Lamborghini. They can't buy no S-Class. They can't buy no Porsche. They can't go and fly first class everywhere that they go, because just because you are a millionaire does not mean that you still can't live a middle class lifestyle, because you will go broke trying to keep up with somebody like me, because I make a lot of money. So my millionaire and your millionaire is two different millionaires, because the lifestyle and the income will then determine what it is that you can do. Or even if you're looking at things from a business perspective, if you can even write off certain things, because I flew to Dallas specifically to do business, record content, look at real estate, do a lot of different things. So that entire Dallas trip, even the person that is my co-pilot, Rita, right? And she's my assistant, and she actually works for me, and she's taking care of business, and she's overseeing things and managing my calendar. And when y'all email her, she's the one that y'all talk to on the email initially before y'all get to me. All of that stuff, I need her. All of that is you went to Dallas because you wanted to go and have a good time and go and watch the Dallas Cowboys or the Dallas Mavericks. I went to Dallas in order to work and take care of business. So it's two different types of lifestyles. You see what I'm saying? And so when people don't know how money moves and how money talks, it's easy for them to just take a general talking point and say, well, rich people, wealth is quiet. Wealth is quiet. No, wealth is fucking loud. It's loud as hell. Loud as hell.
Most of the rich niggas say I'm fucked up. You ask a nigga, I ain't got it, I'm fucked up.
Yeah, I noticed that. Yeah.
But niggas that be fucked up, those are the ones that want to make it rain all day, and you know, cause they fucked up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like when you fucked up, you pretend you rich, and when you rich, you pretend you broke.
Pretend you broke.
It's the laws. I don't know why it happens that way. But mostly rich people don't want people to know that they got money because you don't want nobody trying to rob you.
Listen to what he's saying. Rich people don't want people to know they got money because they don't want nobody to try to rob them. That's a whole nother mentality from the type of people that I'm surrounding myself around. Real talk.
Cops, you turn into a bullseye.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, he's the richest nigga in the room. Not everybody's a thief or a robber, but some people do it for a living.
So now you got to ask yourself, what the fuck type of room am I in where I'm in person, and if I'm the richest person in the room, they trying to rob me? No. Think about that for a second. Because it's somebody on the internet that's going to refer back to Dame Dash's video, and they're going to say, Anton, well, Dame Dash said, well, rich people try to act poor and poor people try to act rich. Well, what the fuck type of room are you in to where you got to worry about somebody trying to rob you?
They're looking at the one that got the most. You become a target.
Bullseye.
And everyone else, every man, any real man wants to be number one. So I don't care if you walk into a room, you're supposed to be the richest, you think everybody love you, they saying hi, but they hate you because you taking their girl. They want to do anything they could so that they could be in position. Trust me on that. You know, that was the story of my life. Everybody always wants to look like they're in position, and I'll be like, all right. You know what I'm saying? They don't want everybody wants to look like the boss. All right, you be the boss.
Cap. That's the story of his life. Now that he's learning a lesson, and the tax man started jamming him up. Because what I seen on camera was, this is a bottle. This is the bottle. Big pimpin', spinning cheese. We be big pimpin'. Oh, let me make sure this is closed. Throwing it on the girls. Ballin'. You know this. So he's learning, he's evolving, he's learning a lesson. But I seen him with the bottles in his hand with the cheese, maybe smoking everybody wanna ball. That's what I seen. Don't switch up now. No, switch up now, but also add the additional context. You know what I'm saying?
Or at least tell everybody you the boss. Fuck it. Damn. You go be the target.
You gonna be the target.
You know, a real rich man don't be wanting nobody to know. Yeah, you're a marked man if everybody knows your finances. That's crazy. You know what I'm saying?
So you never did, like with the press, when they would try to put your business out there like that, you never like went at them and told them like, why you doing that? Like,
I mean, I saw it, but I did it publicly. I turned the thing on them and was like, yo, why you keep saying this? You know, I did that to the Daily News and the thing. So, you know.
Meanwhile, Richard Branson and Larry Ellison, y'all don't even know who that is. They have whole parties on buying whole islands and partying up like ever. The rooms that they in, they not worried about you. They ain't worried about you.
I would do that just because I don't like them smiling in my face and then trying to shit on me behind my back or publicly and then act like we're gonna be cool.
It's just crazy that people get paid for that though. They get paid.
And that they could look in the mirror and be happy with them. That's what I told her. I remember I told her, like, you happy? Is your parents proud of you that you went to college to come out here and lie about people? You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you even look at yourself and feel good about what you do? And some people think, you know, it was money before anything, but integrity is really where, and respect. That's why that's my wealth.
Cap. That's what people say. You know why people didn't start switching up and saying that? Because it was all about that bag before. It was all about that bag before, and now it's respect over everything. You got to be a real nigga. Listen, I don't care nothing about the money. It's respect over no. I don't need your respect. I only need the respect of the people that surround me. I don't need the respect of everybody because everybody ain't gonna love you anyway. All right. What I do want, without any kind of pushback whatsoever, is my bag. I want my money and I want it now. The bill collectors don't give a fuck about whether you respect them or not. They will come and get their money though. He don't care nothing about your respect. The repo man, he don't care nothing about your respect. He coming to get that fucking car though. Keep your respect. Give me my money. Give me my money.
You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
Not all money's good money.
Not all money's good money. But shit, a lot of people feel like all money's good money.
I don't care about a lot of people.
I've seen that.
Meanwhile, Diddy, he on a yacht somewhere, getting photographed by the paparazzi. Every other weekend, it seemed like he on a yacht with a little young hoe.
Reason why the world. That's the reason why the world is in the shape it's in.
Yeah, I've experienced that.
We all have. Yeah. Like you said, the majority of the world, but I don't consider myself the majority. I consider myself the minority and proud of it.
Absolutely.
Like, I've never been the kind of person that walks in the room and want to have the same exact thing on that everyone else has on. I actually want to be completely opposite. If I see everybody else wearing something or do.
All right, we mined out as much as we could out of this video. But the point of this video is he is right. I will say that. He is right. But he's right within a certain context, within a certain room, around certain people, in certain environments, and based off of whether or not you're doing good business and you want to up and up. But when you move a little bit differently, right, and you start to get in different rooms and you're around certain people, hopefully you grow to the point to where you're not worried about or looking over your back in order to make sure whether or not you got to act poor so that they don't rob you or look at you as a target and things like that. The goal is to be able to live life on your own terms, and you may have to divest yourself from a certain circle of people. You may have to divest yourself against a certain family. You may have to pull back from certain environments. You may have to then disappear out of certain conversations, but that don't mean that I'm supposed to change up who I am when I'm taking care of business and doing what it is that I'm supposed to do. It just means that I need to get around other people that think, see, feel, do, and then operate in the same way that I do. That's what I'm going to do. I'm not switching up around nobody. I'm going to just get a whole nother group of somebodies that then can appreciate whether or not we bag chasers or not. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for y'all to be able to tap into the Patreon. Carlos says, what you did with Carlton and Trap was and is something I hope to see more from you, Anton. Thanks for all you do, big bro. Oh, y'all ain't even seen the beginning of it yet. We still got to come back and hold that news company accountable, but that's more to come tomorrow. Thank you for the 20 ball. I appreciate you, my friend. Levi Apparel says, Anton be like, been there, rich and poor, heavy bag. And I'm going to just tell you, poor don't feel good. Even acting poor don't even feel good. Your shoes be hurting. Your heels ain't right. Parks to Pros pod says, sent the 5 ball. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for holding me down. I appreciate you. Thank you for rocking with me. Let's continue with the show. I want to dive into something else a little bit differently, right? And this does come back to the money. But I was very surprised to even see CNN cover this. I was incredibly surprised to see CNN cover this, right? And the conversation is basically, why are men choosing to be single? Again, why are men choosing to be single? Make sure you hit a like for the YouTube algorithm, subscribe to the channel, turn on your notifications. Let's get into the video, y'all.
Last week, I delved here into recent data from the CDC suggesting major problems with regard to the mental health of our adolescents, surges in depression and suicidal ideation, especially true for our girls. This week, I found cause to worry about young men. This headline from The Hill, it caught my eye. Most young men are single. Most young women are not.
Remember that. Remember this literal quote right here. Most young men are single. Most young women are not. Most young men are single. Most young women are not. All right. Thank you, Gemini. I'm going to read your super chat shortly.
The story reported that as of 2022, Pew Research Center found 30% of U.S. adults are neither married, living with a partner, nor engaged in a committed relationship.
So this is how they're defining single. 30% of U.S. adults, almost 1/3 of everybody, is by themselves. They ain't married. They're not living with a partner. They're not even engaged in a committed relationship. This is according to Pew Research Center, which is a reputable research center. Okay? So they don't even, I define single as either you're married or you're single. I don't have no gray area. They're defining single as just somebody that you're with. All right? We add in all of the factors in the context before we deep dive into this.
Nearly half of all young adults are single. Now, look at these numbers. 34% of women, twice as many, a whopping 63% of men. What explains that? I pulled the Pew study and I read with interest. Turns out since 2019, the share of single men who say they're looking for dates or a relationship has declined from 61% to 50%. In 2018, 28% of men ages 18 to 30 reported they'd had no sex in the past year, compared with 18% of women of that age.
So nearly a third of men were honest enough, because you know niggas be lying about whether or not they get in that box or not. It's still dudes that be lying on their D, all right? 28% of men, almost a third of all of the men that they've researched, all of the men, and this is the Pew Research Center, is saying that they have not had sex within the past year. And these ain't inmates either. These is regular, everyday adults that's outside. Let's continue.
The Hill report said men in their 20s are more likely than women in their 20s to be romantically uninvolved, sexually dormant, friendless, and lonely. They stand at the vanguard of an epidemic of declining marriage, sexuality, and relationships that afflicts all of young America. Among the causes, among the factors, a reliance on social media and online porn.
Can we stop it there and just mine this out? Can we stop it there and mine this out? Now they're giving you the factors. They're deep diving, and they're giving you the additional context. What do I say all the time? Stop watching porn. Stop using porn. Stop depending on porn. I say this all the time. I had this conversation with y'all all the time. The more availability that you have, the more options that you have, the worse decisions that you generally make for yourself. The more freedom that you have, the more bad decisions that you usually make for yourself. Let's continue.
But also, more young women are hooking up with each other or dating and marrying slightly older men, and heterosexual women are getting more choosy.
More women. This is the Sodom and Gomorrah that y'all wanted. More women are starting to bump uglies. I'm gonna tell you the way that my mama told me. She said, women that rub monkeys together. She said, women that rub monkeys together are bumping uglies. That's what she said. Don't get mad at me. Women that rub their monkeys together. Because I know some of y'all is out there looking like some hairy monsters. Monsters Inc. down there. You ain't a dolphin like me. You're not smooth like me, right? And so you bumping uglies. Women are bumping uglies. They're getting involved with older men. Shout out to all of the zaddies out here in these streets. They doubling up, tripling up. They deciding they want to be sad chicks, and they getting more choosy. They said, listen, I'm either choosing to be by myself. I can't find a man that I want. I might bump some uglies in the meantime, and Zaddy is over here giving out the bag. He making it rain out here, all right? Let's continue.
Other troubling statistics about men come from a 2021 study from the Survey Center for American Life. They found the share of men who have 6 or more close friends, which in 1990 was 55%, by 2021 had shrunk by half. Meanwhile, those with literally 0 close friends, which
y'all don't even have no friends no more. Y'all don't even have no friends no more. That's why y'all be sitting beefing on the internet all day, because y'all ain't got nothing better to do. Listen. When you get into it with somebody on the internet, trust me, I know. You let it fly, and then you go and release. You go and get your monster mash on. It's a strong possibility almost every single time that I've gotten off of a show, and then it went bad, and I cut somebody out or I kicked somebody off. I was over there making it do what it do, baby. But y'all just be going on and on. And 3 days from now and 2 weeks from now, You still beefing with everybody that you was beefing with, and you ain't never even met these people in real life. And you are holding them down and not even making no money as a result of it. And so people ain't got no friends. They ain't getting no box. They not bumping uglies, right? Let's continue.
which stood at 3% in 1990, has zoomed to 15%. An expert quoted by The Hill said this disconnect can have catastrophic consequences for young men.
It does.
Quote, in the worst case scenario, the young American man's social disconnect can have tragic consequences. Young men commit suicide at 4 times the rate of young women.
That's correct.
Younger women are largely responsible for rising rates of mass shootings, a trend that some researchers link to their growing social isolation.
Listen to what he's saying, y'all. In the worst case scenario, the young American man's social disconnect can have tragic consequences. Young men commit suicide at 4 times the rate of young women. But we sitting here having conversations on a regular basis about how it is that we can empower women, how we can make women more profitable, how we can get women more money, how it is that we need to make women more black girl magic, triple minority, you a woman, you black, and you ugly. We sitting here having these conversations on a regular basis on how it is that we supposed to fix women. But in reality, if you want to look at the fall or the rise of any great society is largely determined by how successful and how great their men are, right? And so instead of us pouring more resources into who we want to be the future leaders of our households, because I don't know any woman that, even the ones that say that they want a partner, I don't know any woman that says that she wants a weak man. I don't know one woman in the world. What they settle for is a completely different thing than what it is that they actually want. I don't know one woman that say I want a docile, weak, or emasculated man to come into my presence and take over what's going on in my household. That's not what they say. Young men commit suicide at 4 times the rate of young women. Young men are largely responsible for the rising rates of mass shootings, a trend some researchers link to their growing social isolation.
Well, those words reminded me of a conversation that I had over a year ago right here on CNN with NYU professor Scott Galloway.
But the issue is when you have a group of men, the lower half of attractiveness of men in online dating, which has doubled, now it's about half of relationships, and the top 20% of men in terms of attractiveness get about 60% of the interest, you end up with a group of men that are more prone to conspiracy theory, more prone.
So then listen to what he's saying, conspiracy theory. So now you got a bunch of dudes online, because that's where they congregate. They congregate in groups online, and it's not their fault. They've been isolated. They've been emasculated. They've been raised by single mothers. And now they're in a space to where the top 20% of men, according to what this man just said, get 60% of the women. That's 3/5 of all women on the face of the earth. That means that you get a side chick, 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 and you get a bust down. That's what it's saying. This is saying that, listen to what we're saying, y'all, and it's going to largely tie back into my original point that I made in the first place. All social media did is the same thing that money does. It exaggerated what we already knew the problem was to be. So if you wasn't out and about and actually improving yourself and getting that bag and whatever it is that you was doing before, all technology did, or all money does, is make you more of who you already are. You become more of that good thing or that bad thing. Social media didn't solve for your problems by making sex and box more easily available. And when I get on these panels, especially when I'm on Fight Club at night sometimes, and everybody is getting boxed, everybody is busting her down, and everybody got all of these different options. And listen, I ain't messing with that chick because she a single baby mama. You's a lie, and the truth ain't in you. Because the research is showing that if it's 700 people that was watching Fight Club, or 800 or 1,000 people that's watching Fight Club, I see over 1,000, over 1,100, over 1,200 people in here right now. That means that there's somebody that is watching this, typing hard, acting like they getting all of these options in a box, and they get nothing. That means that there's an 80% window that you have not gotten boxed in the last month, 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. and somebody else is probably busting down your baby mama who you got left by in the first place. This is a problem. This is a problem. Feminism is a problem. Celebrating black girl magic is a problem. Not continuing to build our men up to be what it is that they need to be, and then allowing for them to actually be rewarded for their hard effort and their hard work is a problem, because then it creates these problems and these mass issues that we then have to deal with all together as a society. See, at some point, society is going to get to the point to where it's already a class war. It's already a class war. And it's going to grow to the point to where you guys are, the women are largely going to be the punching bags for the men that don't feel like they can adequately compete with other men. You want to know the clearest example of it? Women's sports. You know who about to take over women's sports? Men. I watched a track and meet video the other day, a recent track and field video. And now they have allowed, largely within women's sports, men to be able to say, hey, I identify as a woman and I want to kick your ass. They in wrestling, they in swimming, they in track and field. Hopefully they go on into listen, because this is what you wanted. Hopefully they go into the WNBA and they be bodying y'all and dunking on your fucking head because you wanted equal. Well, guess what? Equal looks like this. It looks like there is no specific differentiation between a woman's sport and a man's sport. It's just basketball, wrestling, football, kick your ass. Let me show you what it is that I'm made of. And the dude didn't even try, and he was kicking them chicks' butts all day long. And now y'all want to get upset about it. Now y'all want to try to figure things out. We already in Sodom and Gomorrah. It's over. It's over. Let's continue.
Prone to misogynistic content, more prone to not believe in climate change. So this is the American story. If it's written with a pen whose ink is failing young men, does not end well. This is an existential crisis, failing young men.
As always, Professor Galloway was prescient. Back with me now is Scott Galloway. He's a professor of marketing at NYU Stern School of Business. He's a serial entrepreneur. He's the host of the Professor G podcast and author of multiple best-selling books, most recently, Adrift, America in 100 Charts. Scott, thanks for returning. Hasn't the advantage always been to those with the looks and or the...
Hold on. Tell me that this ain't true. Grand source, Anton New York Post article says that the SVB gave more than $73 million to Black Lives Matter movement and other money. We'll tackle that in a minute. Don't worry about it.
Money, what's changed?
First off, Michael, I just want to say thank you for raising this issue a year ago when a lot of media companies were afraid to talk about this for fear of it being pro-men was somehow being anti-women. Look, this is returning to the natural order of things. For the majority of history, a small percentage of men have had the majority of the mating opportunities. But in America, we decided to make a huge investment in what would probably be the greatest innovation in history, and that is in the middle class. From 1945 to 1947, 7 million men returned from war were discharged from the service, and we decided to give them the GI Bill, subsidized mortgages. We saw education rates go from 5 to 45%. They were valued, and we had such a strong manufacturing base that you had massive marriage and household formation. And some men were seen as more economically and emotionally viable. And you've seen the reverse happen with the offshoring of much of our manufacturing base, with a society that quite frankly doesn't value young men. When we talk about problems with people of color or women, we see it as a systemic societal problem. When we see problems or the stats that you just mentioned, we see it as accountability, or that men just need to level up. But married households and household formation are better citizens. They vote, they save at twice the rate, they're less likely to commit crimes. And we have fewer and fewer viable men. We have a dearth of economically and emotionally viable men. But the middle class is an accident. Unless you invest in it, it doesn't happen. Eisenhower decided to invest $500 billion in a national highway project that created tons of jobs. We have, and by the way, the tax rate back then was 91%. We raised money and we redistributed in social programs that made young people more economically viable.
Could you imagine a tax rate that's 91%? Could you imagine a tax rate that is 91%? For every dollar that you make, you get to take home 9 cents if you're rich. That's wild. You might as well just kill me. Because there's no way that I'm going to work extra hard in order to be able to give it over to social programs. But the point is that, because that threw me off right there. That just messed up everything. Hold on. Let me just double check that he even know what he's talking about. He was absolutely right. He was absolutely right. Wow. You can't dispute the facts. You certainly cannot dispute the facts. He was absolutely right. For tax years 1944 through 1951, highest marginal tax rate for individuals was 91%, increasing to 92% for 1952 through 53, reverting to 91% in 1954 through 63. For the 1964 tax year, top marginal rate for individuals was lowered to 77%, then 70% for tax years 1965 through 81. You know what this made? You know what happened as a result of this, right? All that did was made people get a lot more creative, and this is why we have a situation where Anton is having a conversation with you today based off of looking at everything from a business perspective. Because then what happened was people got more creative about how it is that they need to keep their wealth. So that marginal tax rate was based off of the idea that you as an individual would have to pay that if you met certain thresholds. Well, what people did, because this was largely after the Great Depression, and so now everything is starting to make sense. After the Great Depression, this is probably what was enacted in order to satisfy the taste of the eat the rich. So the rich people said, all right, cool. We're going to start getting these tax loopholes and looking at things more from a business perspective because you can't tax me on anything that I didn't make. And so now, in 2023, somebody like Anton makes sure that I donate or I give everything and I redistribute everything back into my companies so that I don't have to pay the same taxes as you do. And then exponentially, rich people became richer, and then 1% of the nation owns 90% of the real estate. And so they created an issue and a problem by not actually doing the thing that was in the best interest of the people, but having this rich eat the rich mentality that then absolutely destroyed everything. And they still didn't even know how to manage the money effectively because they then started to print more money. Don't even get me started because I'm about to start deep diving. But all it did was create an environment where rich people said, all right, cool, I'm going to figure out how to not pay no taxes since you want to take everything. 91%, 92%, man, that is crazy. That is absolutely crazy. All right, let me get into this article really quick. As y'all said that Silicon Valley Bank gave $94 million or $74 million to Black Lives Matters. So I pulled up an article. So I'm going to pull up two. So this is what y'all need to do, all right? This is what y'all need to do. Whenever y'all trying to figure something out, here, let me switch myself around. Whenever y'all trying to figure something out, don't just go based off of limited information. Actually go based off of multiple different sources in order to be able to come up with this whole thing, right? So I'm going to share my screen with y'all really quickly. Give me a second. SVB, 74 million. Black Lives Matter. Okay, I don't see anything on YouTube. However, I have found a few articles that I'm going to share with you guys simply because I want to show you how it is that I do research and why it's important for you guys to do research also, and not just take everything that you hear as gospel. All right. So let me share my screen with you guys. So this is Newsweek. All right. Credible source, yes. All right, so on Newsweek, they're saying Silicon Valley Bank, now also take into consideration who it is that's writing this article. This article is written by Jeffrey Charles. Jeffrey Charles wrote this article. Blackity black man, all right, on behalf of Newsweek, okay? So Jeffrey Charles wrote this article, and it says Silicon Valley Bank gave $74 million to Black Lives Matter, and he explains a lot about the bank's collapse. Then he goes on to say, in the wake of the 16th largest bank in the U.S., many are speculating as to what led to the sudden spectacular downfall of the Silicon Valley Bank, and some have pointed to a faulty risk management strategy, while others blame a classic bank run. Still others have blamed the company's commitment to democratic causes like diversity, equity, and inclusion. The classic diversity, equity, and inclusion, all right? As a culprit, and particularly spicy take, on the Wall Street Journal, Andy Kessler suggested that the company's pride in the makeup of its board. SVB notes that besides the 91% of their board being dependent and 45% women, they also have one black, one alphabet community, and two veterans may have been the real culprit. Goes on to say Kessler's piece got a hefty dose of online backlash, but there's new evidence. Go woke, go broke theory of Silicon Valley Bank's downfall, or at least in theory, that is focused on racial issues, exposed something important about its business acumen or lack thereof. A database created by the Claremont Institute revealed that SVB either donated or pledged to donate almost $74 million to organizations affiliated with Black Lives Matter movement. Let's read that again. The Claremont Institute revealed that Silicon Valley Bank either donated or pledged to donate almost $74 million to organizations affiliated with Black Lives Matter movement. Of course, they were not alone. Silicon Valley Bank was one of several high-profile corporations that exploited the murder of George Floyd to endear themselves to the public by pretending that they care about the plight of Black Americans. Along with many other companies, SVB signaled their virtue they call it virtue signaling, by declaring that they would pour oodles of cash into causes designed to help the Black community. Only took a few years, blah, 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 right? And then it goes on to say that Black Lives Matter organization actually purchased a mansion and blah, 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 right? So looking at this on the surface, you could say, okay, well, we really gonna hold Black Lives Matters and Silicon Valley Bank accountable because they gave $74 million or pledged to give $74 million, right? And then if you look at a competing article, right? This is an article from The Nation specifically, and it's referencing an article that was written by Fox News, and this is written by Joanne Walsh. And it's saying Silicon Valley Bank didn't fund Black Lives Matter, and they literally gave $0. They literally gave $0, all right? So it goes on to say that wondering what's behind the disaster at Silicon Valley Bank, cool. Apparently, the company spent too much time worrying about the wokeness and diversity. Specifically, Fox claims that Silicon Valley Bank gave $73 million to Black Lives Matter related, now they're playing on words, related activities. It's said that they spent more than $73 million on donations to Black Lives Matter and related organization. Tucker Carlson told his audience Tuesday night. They followed up on Fox and Friends. They donated more than $73 million to Black Lives Matters. And they use this rhetoric, right? And the one thing that y'all should look at, and one thing that we was paying attention to yesterday was the news spins narratives in order to get views and clicks. And this is why it's important for y'all not to depend on the news just so you can try to substantiate who you gonna vote for. You can't just believe or lean on Tucker Carlson. I know that a lot of us is lazy and we don't want to do our own research, but we just go ahead and rock out with whatever the sentiment is or the disposition is in order to say, okay, we need to vote Democrat or we need to vote Republican because they do it on both sides. And even though I am really, really conservative, I think that there's some finessing going on both sides, right? So let's go down a little bit more. Goes on to say, it was all based on data compiled by the Claremont Institute, the right-wing think tank Last seen gifting the American people with the nutty electoral theories of Trump attorney John Eastman, and it represents some astonishingly bad reporting. Let's continue. Claremont has a whole database of the investments major corporations have made to Black Lives Matter groups, and it represents many billions of dollars. If Black Lives Matter truly had that kind of funding, the movement would be unstoppable. It examined the corporate largesse that is really going on, and he can't find any evidence that Silicon Valley Bank, based off of Claremont, has funded any Black Lives Matter activities. It says that Claremont cites 9 SVB internal reports to back up its claim, but the reports document nothing to do with funding Black Lives Matter. There are studies of diversity and diversity efforts. There's a mention of an investment of low to moderate income local communities. And even if you assume anything having to do with Black people gets counted as funding for Black Lives Matter, the funding is far less than the $73 million Claremont claimed to fund. It shows 3M, which has nothing to do with Silicon Valley Bank, pledging, not actually giving, pledging a whopping $50 million to Black Lives Matter, but the investment is mainly focused on supporting STEM learning in Black communities. What a pledge of $50 million over 5 years. The first year, $5 million went to the United Negro College Fund Network for work in St. Paul, Minneapolis. Hardly the same as Black Lives Matter. Chevron put $15 million into Black Lives Matter. Claremont reports. Of that, $7 million went to historically Black colleges and universities. That's not Black Lives Matter. $2 million of that to the Radical United Negro College Fund, $5.1 million in grants for the K-12 education, $1.6 million to $1 million to the Smithsonian National Museum of African American History and Culture. So it goes on to basically break down exactly why it's a lie and why, instead of them actually adding the context, because they know that nobody is going to actually look at this right-wing think tank in order to substantiate whether or not they really gave to Black Lives Matters. What they'll do is they'll just say this online, and then the first thing that we do is we get emotional, and then we start running and saying that Silicon Valley Bank gave $73 to $74 million to Black Lives Matters, and it's not true. It's not true. Now, as much as I want to hold the left accountable, and as much as I want to hold Silicon Valley Bank accountable even more, because I'm actually doing more research so that we can have a deeper dive into this whole banking thing, so I can give you guys my insight on what it is that I stand for as far as what you should do with your money in this whole banking crisis, because we got to take our time and we got to do it correctly. I also have to be accountable for both sides, right? And then on both sides, they're playing on your emotions in order to get you to feel a certain type of way, which is the same thing that politicians do during elections. Stop falling for it. Stop falling for the finesse. Stop falling for the okie doke. They do not have your best interests at heart. You have to be careful when you're starting to look at these articles, because they're going to play off your emotions, and you need to do a deeper dive. Or at the very least, do what I do. I usually get multiple different articles to compare and contrast, because I don't even believe in the news anymore. We're going to deep dive in that tomorrow. So let me read some of these super chats, and then we're going to get it popping. The Gemini says, I'm trying to get out the whole Louisiana culture. Good for you. I think that's absolutely awesome. Thank you for the 2-ball. Jarrell Davis with the 20-ball says, Anton, thank you, bro, for your insight and wisdom. Thank you, Jarrell Davis, for rocking out with me on the Millionaire Morning Show. Forsaken Archive says, what you know about them Texas boys coming down at Canatoy, blowing loud, making noise. Pimp C, rest in peace to Pimp C. Shout out to Forsaken Archive. See, y'all didn't know I was going to be able to catch that, did y'all? Shout out to Matthew Funches for the 2-ball. I appreciate you. Brock is holding me down with the 5-ball. Says, you know I got to drop my offering. Thank you, Brock. I appreciate it. The Gemini says, it's official. I'm on board. And also says, did the annual, don't have time to waste on the monthly. He joined the Patreon. Shout out to all of the new bag chasers and everybody that's continuing to hold me down inside of the Patreon. Link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat. Listen, I am exhausted. And when I say exhausted, I say exhausted. I feel like I haven't slept in like 2 weeks. But guess what I'm about to do? Right here, right now. I am about to get off this live stream. I'm about to go and look at the water on my balcony for a second. I'm going to pray. Let me show you what I usually do. The minute that I get off the live stream, when I'm at the crib, I go out on my balcony. I look at all of what God has created, and I'm thankful. I'm appreciative. I thank God for you. I thank God for my people. I thank God for my bag chasers. I thank God for my tribe. I thank God for the opportunity to even be able to come before you today and have this conversation, right? So I do want you guys to be very, very, very intentional on how it is that you take care of things. I got my other hoodie right here. Oh, that's my t-shirt and my hoodie. I want you guys to be very, very careful about how it is that you go about looking at information. Anton is about to crash, man. Hopefully for like the next 2 hours because I got some very important meetings later on today. And then I might go to a Pistons game to enjoy my life this afternoon. Listen, I love you. I appreciate you. I am going to be putting together some very, very awesome things for the Patreon members this weekend. And this week I am releasing the location of where we're having the next meetup. In addition to that, I have some awesome shows coming up for you guys that I think that you're going to absolutely love. Thank you to Patrick Hill. He says, God bless. God bless you, my friend. Thank y'all for the prayers. Y'all pray for me like I pray for y'all. And also, I need y'all to do me one more thing before we get up out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you share this with your family and friends. We don't want to be rich by ourselves. I love you. I appreciate you. You guys are absolutely, positively awesome. You guys are the best ever. I love y'all. Let me go ahead and crash for a little bit so I can be in top-notch condition mentally, physically, and everything else so that we can absolutely, positively continue to get it in. Same time tomorrow. I got some new shows coming up for y'all on my platforms. Y'all gonna love it. I love y'all. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. Time for me to crash out, ladies and gentlemen. Peace.